This program is for informational purposes only. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure any illness. Please speak with your doctor when starting a new health program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Talk. Glad you guys could be with me this week. I'm George Batista, your host, and also your health and nutrition advocate. Hope you guys had a great week, and I hope you're happy and healthy. Wellness Talk, as always, is the show that goes over the latest in health and healing. We talk about supplements. We take the mystery out of supplements, and we show you how to use them properly. And this show is supported by Patreon. So those of you who would like to give to this show at whichever level, we have a $5 level and we have a $15 level. So if you'd like to support the show at the $5 level, that would be great. I really appreciate it. And if you support us at the $15 level, you will get access to some absolutely fantastic courses for all different types of topics, all different types of specific conditions. So if you're dealing with any kind of specific conditions, we teach you step by step exactly what I've used for, whether it's myself or whether it's for people that I have coached all around the world, show you specific things that I use to help them and specific strategies of how to, help yourself with whatever condition you're dealing with. So if you would like to do so, check it out. And of course, I'm going to ask you to like, share, and subscribe this channel with everyone. And if you like what we're doing here, and always please support us as much as you can. So this week we're going to talk about what's your iodine status. We're going to talk a little bit about iodine. I've talked about it a little bit in previous shows when it came to thyroid, but we're going to zero in specifically on iodine. We're going to this is, by the way, from Wellness Resources, Linda Dauberstein. And we're going to talk about exactly why iodine is so important, especially if you're pregnant or planning to become pregnant, right? So it's extremely important that you definitely need to get that in. Then we're going to talk about trace minerals. What are they? Why your body needs them to function. And of course, this is the drum that I beat constantly on this show. If you guys have listened to my show for any length of time, you know that I pound into you guys the concept that trace minerals and vitamins and amino acids and omega-3s are what is the fuel to our body. It's what makes our body run. It's what makes our body do things. We're going to talk about exactly specifically why that is, and we're going to talk about what the trace minerals are and why you should be consuming them every single day. Then I've been going over vitamin C in the last few shows, all different forms of vitamin C. I've talked about my secrets of vitamin C that I've used in the past, whether I'm sick or whether somebody I know is sick. I've talked about how I use it. I've talked about liposomal vitamin C, which was last week. We talked about how to use that and where to get the best. So I'm going to continue with my series on vitamin C. And this time we're going to talk about intravenous vitamin C. And as a successful treatment of viral infections. And this is by Nina Mikarova, and this is from the Reardon Clinic, because the Reardon Clinic uses intravenous vitamin C like crazy to deal with all different types of specific conditions. So we're going to talk specifically about how you can, how you can use intravenous vitamin C, obviously with the help of a doctor, and for whatever viral conditions you're dealing with. Okay, so again, this is part of our series on boosting your immune system with vitamin C. All right, so let's get started. Let's start with iodine. So we're gonna start with your iodine status. Again, this is from Wellness Resources, Linda Dauberstein. We're going to talk about why iodine is so important and what it does. So first of all, nearly 2 billion people across the globe are estimated to have inadequate intakes of iodine. And of that number, 300 million are children. Okay. Now, iodine is a trace mineral, and it's well known for its role with thyroid, but it's so many other things. Now, iodine was discovered in 1809 by a French scientist. But by 1895, iodine was widely used as a universal remedy nearly for all human ills with extraordinary knowledge. Now think about that for a second, okay? This was prior to pharmaceuticals. They used iodine for almost everything because they realized how important it was. And it's crazy because now you never hear of it. You just don't hear about iodine at all, okay, because everything is pharmaceutical based. But iodine was so important, and it literally cured people of all different types of stuff. Now, after World War II, the iodine usage in its recorded medical history have been substantially silenced again because that's when pharmaceuticals really started to make a big difference in society. Not to say that all pharmaceuticals are terrible, but most of them are. But there's just so much you can do here. Now, the U.S. recommended daily allowance for iodine in adult men and women is about 150 micrograms per day. Now, the RDA for women who are pregnant, and this is what's really, really important. The RDA for women who are pregnant or breastfeeding is about 220 to 290 micrograms per day. And the RDA for infants 0 to 12 months is 110 to 130 micrograms per day. For children from 1 to 13, it's 90 to 120. And this is kind of the dose that's sufficient if iodine stores in your body are adequate, okay? But the issue is that dietary iodine has been lacking for so many years, and iodine is so important for brain development in children, not only your fetus, but actually when the child is born. This is why there was a many years ago, there was a whole crop of newborns that were born that were called iodine babies because they were born with a lack of iodine. It was a test actually, and they showed that the lacking of iodine caused all different types of brain abnormalities and birth defects and different things like that. So, the overall consequences of iodine, of insufficient iodine during pregnancy, okay, are, impaired mental function, stunted growth, delayed sexual maturation, as well as increased risk of stillborn and infant death. So think about how important that is. Now, people always, many people associate just iodine with thyroid, and obviously it is important for thyroid as well, but it's so many other things. And lab tests for iodine status include urine and blood tests. But again, it's not always the most accurate. Now, research suggests that blood tests of TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, and T4 concentrations do not adequately reflect low iodine status. So, these are things to keep in mind. Okay, now here's some of the tissues that are affected by iodine. Okay, you have to remember iodine is taken up by your saliva glands, number one. It's taken up by your eyes, your skin, your thymus gland, but also breast tissue, pancreas, prostate, and uterus. And studies show that adequate intake is highly important for maintaining normal breast tissue architecture and function. Now, we also know iodine and thyroid are extremely important because iodine is necessary to produce T4 and T3. Now, I've talked about this before. T4 is thyroid hormone, okay, and it's tyrosine with molecules of iodine around it. So, for example, T4 is tyrosine, which is an amino acid with 4 molecules of iodine around it. When that gets stripped, now that is the inactive form of tyrosine. Now, what your body does is it takes one molecule of iodine off, and it makes it T3, and then T3 becomes the active form of thyroid hormone. And that's how that works. But that is produced, that it's started by iodine. Okay, iodine is those molecules around it. So again, important. Iodine has been used historically as an antiseptic product because of its immune benefits. And in 1988, a research publication identified the effects of iodine on immune function. Now, iodine modulated the responses of granulocytes, a type of immune cell, okay, and an increased movement of granulocytes into the in the areas where inflammation was present, and increased phagocytosis, which means the eating of whatever the parasites or whatever it is you're dealing with. Okay, so that's why it's so important. Also, iodine affects cholesterol production, and it has an impact on metabolism and heart health. Now, U.S. adults low in urinary iodine concentrations had a greater risk for elevated total LDL cholesterol with lower levels of HDL cholesterol. Another thing that it does that's very, very powerful. So foods that contain iodine, we're looking at seaweed, cod, tuna, whole grain breads, things like that, eggs, hard-boiled, yogurt, different types of pastas, some fruits and vegetables, animal proteins, and legumes. Also, Himalayan salt, sea salt, and Celtic salt do contain iodine. Now, if you are on a salt-restricted diet, you have to be careful because you may be insufficient in iodine. Also, another thing to keep in mind, that those of you with bad thyroids or concerned about your thyroid, you have to be careful if you're eating any kind of raw cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflowers, cabbage, kale, a lot of soy or spinach, those types of things, because they all contain something called thiocyanate, which blocks the iodine uptake used by your thyroid. So I would suggest cooking these foods because cooking them deactivates the thiocyanate. Okay, so just some things to keep in mind. Also, iodine works with a lot of other nutrients, so like vitamin B, vitamin C, magnesium, and many other things. Best iodine to take, in my opinion, is the Wellness Resources brand. That's the brand that I've always used with many, many people. It's called Iosol iodine. It comes in a dropper, and you just put a few drops in whatever your favorite beverage is, and you're good to go. So keep an eye on iodine status. Very, very important. Next, we're going to talk about trace minerals. And by the way, iodine is one of them. But this is from Ty Bollinger. This is from the truthaboutcancer.com website. And I've posted a lot from this website. And we're going to talk more about specific minerals and why they are important. Now, keep in mind that there's about 103 known mineral varieties, okay? And 18 of them fall into the trace mineral category, and they're recognized as playing a crucial role in human health. Now, those are the ones that we know of specifically, okay? And these are minerals, again, like iron, zinc, magnesium, manganese, copper, phosphorus, chromium, potassium, iodine again, okay, chloride, sulfate, boron. Our bodies require each of these trace minerals for proper balance to facilitate health and well-being. Now, again, you guys know me and who've listened to this show, you know that I beat the drum about making sure you're getting adequate vitamins and minerals into your system. Now, and by the way, Linus Pauling, who was a gentleman who won 2 Nobel Prizes, he was one of the fathers of vitamin C. He was known for saying that all disease is from a mineral deficiency. Okay, so think about that. Now, trace minerals serve as reinforcements for bones, for cartilage, and many other body tissues. Now, while they might appear solid and unchanging, your body's bone structure is actually constantly in repair and renewal. So trace mineral function is kind of the lattice architecture. So, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium are all very key to keeping your bones strong. Okay, your muscles and your central nervous system all require trace minerals in order to facilitate nerve impulses. Now, without them, the muscles in your heart would fail to contract, your brain would stop functioning, your organs and your body wouldn't even be able to move or flex. Think about that, okay? This is all because of mineral deficiency. So, extremely important. A strong functioning immune system is contingent upon trace minerals as well. So your immune system requires minerals like zinc to fight infections, heal wounds, and repair damaged cells. Selenium, which further supports the body's ability to ward off heart problems and even protects against the formation of cancer cells, okay? Let's see what else minerals do. They improve digestion and bowel function. They improve cellular communication. They nourish the hair and the skin. They regulate the body's maintenance and growth of cellular and muscle tissue. They facilitate countless other metabolic processes important to maintaining life. So think about it. If you were mineral deficient, completely mineral deficient, you wouldn't exist because you'd be dead. It's that simple. Okay? So we're going to talk about the signs and the symptoms of mineral deficiency. Number one, anemia. Why? Anemia is a lack of iron. Okay? Poor digestion, brain fog, poor appetite, chronic fatigue, many times a sign of lack of magnesium. Excessive fluid loss, abdominal pain, bloating, many times a lack of potassium, loss of libido, poor immunity, inability to fully digest protein, zinc deficiency, and muscle cramping, tingling in the extremities, irregular heartbeat, could be a calcium deficiency and or magnesium deficiency as well. Okay, so how does the body get maximum benefit from trace minerals? First of all, you got to make sure you take them in. You got to take in enough trace minerals. Remember, our bodies do not make minerals. Our bodies can make some vitamins. Our bodies cannot make minerals. We have to take them in. Okay, and minerals are grown from the soil. The problem is, again, the way soil is grown, it's very difficult to get a good crop of minerals these days. And then, of course, you cook your food and the way food is prepared and that type of thing, you know, it brings down the mineral consistency of the food. So this is why I always suggest, and again, I'm going to beat this till I'm blue in the face, make sure you take a multivitamin, make sure you're taking your multi-minerals, because you're getting insurance that you have enough of the minerals to run your body. Because think about minerals, vitamins and minerals to your body is kind of like gasoline to the car. Okay, if you don't have enough gasoline, you don't have oil, what happens? Your car ceases to move, right? So you have to make sure that you're getting that, because that's the only way. This is how your body runs. Now, one way to avoid mineral deficiency is to consume plenty of traditional foods produced in harmony with nature. This means fruits and vegetables grown organically, you know, as much as you can. Conventional produce is typically grown in dead soils, and this is why, and plus it has the pesticides and the herbicides and all that, and again, that also depletes the mineral content in these foods. So my suggestion would be to make sure you're getting them as organic as possible, because I guarantee you it does make a difference. So minerals, extremely important to everyday function. All right, next we're going to continue our series on vitamin C. We're going to talk about high-dose intravenous vitamin C as a successful treatment of viral infections. It's funny because I've talked to people about intravenous vitamin C, especially during the pandemic, and there are many people that had no idea that that wasn't even a thing, okay? But I'm going to tell you exactly how successful intravenous vitamin C is. Now, keep in mind that obviously intravenous vitamin C, if you are going to get it, you're going to get it from a doctor who's able to do it. Most, either a naturopath or a functional medicine clinic, those types of things, many times will have intravenous vitamin C and intravenous vitamins in general, but they find it fitting to use intravenous vitamin C because they've seen the research. Now, do you know, and by the way, this is from Nina Mikarova, again, this is from the Reardon Clinic. Do you know that injections of vitamin C were successfully used in treating polio, diphtheria, herpes zoster, which is shingles, herpes simplex, chickenpox, influenza, measles, mumps, and viral pneumonia in the middle of the 20th century? Think about that, okay? Intravenous vitamin C has been used for all these types of things. There was a famous doctor, Dr. Frederick Klenner, around the 1930s. He was practicing medicine in the 1930s to the 1970s, and he was one of the pioneers of using injectable vitamin C in the treatment of viral infection. Matter of fact, one of the first studies in the inactivation of poliomyelitis virus in an in vitro setting was using crystalline vitamin C or ascorbic acid. And this was around 1935. Now, in 1949, Dr. Klenner reported successful treatment of polio and all these different all these different cases of, again, viral pneumonia, measles, and all that. As a matter of fact, he had I think it was 60 cases of polio, and he was able to cure 60 out of 60. Now, 57 of the cases were cured literally very, very quickly. The other 3 required a few more doses, or a few more doses of intravenous vitamin C, right? So that's extremely important. Now, in addition, Dr. Klenner treated many cases of influenza with vitamin C. The size of the dose and the number of injections required were in direct proportion to the fever curve and the duration of the illness. Further, the response of encephalitis virus to ascorbic acid therapy was dramatic. 6 cases of encephalitis were treated and cured with vitamin C injections. 2 cases were associated with pneumonia. 2 cases were associated with pneumonia virus. 1 followed chickenpox, 1 mumps, and 1 measles, and 1 combination of measles and mumps. In all these cases, definitive evidence was found to confirm the belief that frequent injections are necessary in treating viruses, infections with vitamin C. Now, 1954, treatment of hepatitis with infusions of ascorbic acid were done, and they compared it to other different types of therapies. And again, same type of thing, all treated and cured with intravenous vitamin C. 1962, Dr. W.L. Dalton described treating a severe case of acute hepatitis in his article, Massive Doses of Vitamin C in the Treatment of Viral Diseases. The study reported on the successful use of preparation of intravenous administration consisting of 2,000 milligrams of ascorbic acid, which is kind of low, by the way. You can get that in pill form. Ascorbic acid were fortified with B vitamins to treat several different viral-caused diseases, including hepatitis, mononucleosis, and pneumonia. And I can go on and on and on with, and to this day, as a matter of fact, when the pandemic started, in Wuhan, there was one doctor who was treating many patients who came in with COVID with intravenous vitamin C. Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, he had about 50 cases, and he basically got rid of COVID in all 50 cases. Where are you going to hear that on the news? You're not going to hear that anywhere. Epstein-Barr virus has been dealt with intravenous vitamin C, and of course we know cancer has been dealt with intravenous vitamin C at very, very high level. We're talking about 50,000 to 100,000 milligrams and more. Now, a lot of it is dosage. Okay, I think the majority of it is dosage, how much you use. You have to keep in mind these people, from Dr. Klenner to Dr. Linus Pauling to Dr. Robert Cathcart, have all been using vitamin C in their clinics. They've documented everything. They've wrote books about intravenous vitamin C and how it's used to cure all these things. And of course, the mainstream medical does not want to listen to any of this, right? Of course not, because the vitamin C doesn't make you money. Anyway, why is vitamin C so important? Because number one, it is a fantastic antioxidant. Number two, when it gets into your system, it donates electrons. It's one of the biggest electron donators in the history of vitamins and minerals. And here's an interesting thing: many of the diseases that from cancer to many other diseases, except for Lyme, but most other diseases actually use not only sugar, but they use iron. They use excessive amounts of iron in your system to replicate, to feed off of. So what vitamin C does, it goes into your system when you're using it intravenously, by the way, and you're using it at high levels. It goes into your system, and there's a reaction called a Fenton reaction, and that actually uses the iron that's in there, and that actually creates, and this is a simple way to describe it, but it creates hydrogen peroxide. That hydrogen peroxide turns into what's called a hydroxyl radical. Hydroxyl radical is one of the most lethal substances known to man, and it instantly destroys the pathogen that it's closest to. So if it's close to a cancer pathogen, it's going to start to destroy that. If it's a viral infection, it's going to start to destroy that. Whatever pathogen it is. So intravenous vitamin C is virucidal, okay? It's bactericidal, okay? And it even deals with funguses. That's how powerful this is. Now, why is this important? Because again, number one, you can only get so much vitamin C in your system orally. You're not going to be able to get to 50,000 to 100,000 milligrams of vitamin C effectively without running to the bathroom or messing up your stomach when it comes to, oral forms of vitamin C. So if you're dealing with something like something powerful, some kind of powerful, whatever it is, pathogen, intravenous vitamin C, if you're going to go that route, is the only way to go as far as, if you're working with a functional medicine doctor or naturopath who does that, because they're going to be able to get those amounts into the 50, 60, 70,000 milligram range. Okay. So these guys have been doing this since the 1930s. And again, you don't hear about this. So to get intravenous vitamin C, obviously, again, you have to work with a doctor who's experienced in doing this, this is part of their practice. Most of the time, it's going to be a naturopath. Most of the time, it's going to be a functional medicine doctor, maybe have a clinic, that type of thing. But I would investigate those guys. Yes, it's going to be more money because obviously it's not going to be covered by insurance. But usually the good things are not covered by insurance. But it's going to make a major difference, especially dealing with all these past pathogens that are around today, right? So, and by the way, another suggestion, those of you who do work with a functional medicine doctor or a naturopath who deals with vitamin C or intravenous vitamin C, if you get a COVID vaccine, my suggestion would be make an appointment on the same day with the naturopath or with a functional medicine doctor, and go get yourself a treatment of intravenous vitamin C. This way you clear out any toxins, clear on any issues when it comes to vaccine, just in case there's going to be any adverse reactions. That's just my tip for the day. You guys can take it and do whatever it is you guys can do. But, I'm here to just give you guys as many tips as possible to make sure you guys know and see it from all the angles, not just the one angle that you may see it on TV. I want you to see it from all the angles because there is a lot you can do besides what you're seeing on TV. Don't even listen to it, okay? Take control of your health. And that's why I'm here, right? I'm here to help you guys take control of your health. And this way, you won't have to deal with the major issues people are dealing with. So anyway, take a look at that. That's our series on vitamin C. Hope you guys get a lot out of that. Hope you guys are keeping healthy and happy out there. And again, I want to thank you. If you want to support us on Patreon, go check us out. You can support us at the $5 level or the $15 level, either way. And other than that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. I'll see you next time. And always take control of your health.